think won't pick it up though. Detune just BKB TPs. And always want to fly will be the collateral damage.
Also, I think I was wrong then. I was talking about that rune, which is also that also might have been the play, right? You have to play around that rune, but the main intention was let's stand in between the enemy and the Dragonite that's pushing, right? And if they run through us, we'll be able to catch one off and kill him. Because not everyone is going to TP top. Black hole.
Yeah, there's Black Hole here onto the BKB Kasani, and Enigma's BKB doesn't really do much there against Kasani's right click. That's how much armor? Enigma's only sitting on 6 armor. But I don't think that's enough to hold out against the butterfly. And what is his minus armor aura? Yeah, 7. So turning into negatives there on Enigma. And another fight here onto Iceberg. Nyx probably able to take him down really quickly. The Roger throws out the sleep. And Iceberg will fall as well. So another fight across the map with FlyToMoon kind of fractured and another black hole that doesn't turn into anything.
Well, none of them turned into anything, right? So far, they didn't have a single good black hole, a single good grip. Maybe that one on Phonic is what forced him to buy back, but that's pretty much it. Like, they need to use these big spells better, especially when you know that these big spells right now have no counter, but they use them kinda alone. The Enigma is all alone trying to kill off an SF. It's not going to work that way.
He does have the Quickening Charm, so he has slightly less time to wait until his next solo black hole without any backup.
Yep, 12 cooldown reduction on the talent tree, then the 13% on the Quickening Charm as well. Yep, I mean overall it's a fairly low cooldown for a black hole. 137 seconds, 0.808.
Very exact. Roche will fall here for HellRaisers. So they put that Aegis over onto Kasani, and a cheese for Nyx on the Monkey King.
Yeah, at this point you don't even have to disable the Enigma, you can just kill her off with SF. He hurts hard, like, he hits hard. This Butterfly plus the SNY.
Ultimate here from Iceberg. SF on the front lines already very low, so Kasani going to pop that Aegis quickly. They have the black hole here in 5 seconds, so Enigma is waiting on the backside. Iceberg aggressively forward. Kasani gripped here, but of course perched on. Black hole jump in does catch Kasani and Phonic here, holding them in place. The Oracle all keeping Kasani alive, and Nyx BKB wants to kill this Enigma. The Roger sleep holding him in place. That Spirit Vessel, real problem for the Morphland. He's already used his BKB. He does not have another one. He does have a buyback, but no buyback on Iceberg or on the Enigma. Grimstroke to fall as well. HellRaisers is just murdering everyone. And there's the GG.
Yeah, that's the game. That black hole in the end did look kinda neat, but it was a little bit too late. So many have failed before that HellRaisers. They got all the items that they needed. The SF was just a beast. That last movement from him did look a little bit wonky, right? He just ran uphill and fed the Aegis. He didn't necessarily have to do that, but yeah, he felt super comfortable. He knows he has that Oracle behind him to save him. Oracle uses the ulti after, I believe, the grip has been used or something else. And then SF and Monkey just clean house. Man, this first game was wonky as hell, and I wouldn't necessarily call this quality Dota, but it was fun to watch. Let's put it that way.
Hey, I always find CIS fun to watch. I'm just staring at Always Wanna Fly 08 and 6. 3,800 net worth at the end of the game. This poor Bane. Such a rough one to see.
You can expect that from Always Wanna Fly, Always Wanna Die, Always Wanna Feed. That's something that he goes for. He goes for these Malk awards.
Well, you know, maybe in the next game they'll be able to push the Malk award a little bit further. But this is a best of 3. So we will transition it back over to the lovely wait screen music while we get into the next lobby. Thanks for joining me, Lizard. Let's go grab some coffee, do a little dancing to Backstreet Boys, the capitalist and Milk style from the old days. And we'll be back shortly, guys.
My name is Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing.
Hi, my name is Sue Lee. My handle is Smix. I think it's important for these initiatives to happen. Empathy really goes a long way, and it always means so much to us, and I think that's where initiatives like this really help.
I encourage everyone in the community, anytime they see bullying, anytime they see someone getting called names, I encourage you to step up and say something.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Multiple witnesses have reported mysterious shadow sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is still unclear.
Everybody loves an underdog. Who needs to be liked?
Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Subdivide. I'll show you how it's done. There's no sight to go inside. The man is the one. You build your walls of faith in God. They never come around. Then wonder why we all defy the burden to be born. to a terrible land. We are here to your mission. We are many of one. We're coming home with a mission to tear you down from your undeserved throne. We can take your conviction. We are many of one. You may call it a virus, but we call it the antidote. It's an answer to silence. The future is here to revolt.
ESL 1 is brought to you in part by Intel, Mercedes-Benz, GG-Bet, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, and DHL.
right, we are back with our second game of the series for HellRaisers versus FlyToMoon. Welcome back, Lizard. Are you ready? After that last game that we saw, do you think that FlyToMoon are ready to go here?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope they are. That first game for both of these teams was something that I like to call a warm-up game. You know, you have your first game of the day. Not everything is really clicking. Your fingers are. We're all old, you know. These professional Dota players. This game is old, and we're getting there. You know, like we have these. I don't even know what they called. You know, when your wrists hurt on your hands, the knuckles,
like
everything.
the arthritis?
Damn, I hope not.
Well, you're talking about how everyone's old. I mean, arthritis is where I'm gonna go with that.
I hope I hope not, but in 20, 30 years we can talk about that. Right now, yeah, I guess a small cases of that, you know. And when we actually warm up, when the fingers are working once again, we can see some quality Dota coming from HellRaisers and FlyToMoon. We'll see. They snatch out their Pango once again. Now the thing is, in that last game, you let them have the Pango and you counter it with 2 heroes. And you still lose. Maybe you need to counter it with 3.
Or maybe you ignore the Pango and don't use your big ultimates when they can be instantly cancelled.
Yeah. There were some curious plays coming from FlyToMoon that last match. We'll see how they adapt in the second one. I honestly don't think their draft was weaker in the first game at all. I think they had a solid chance and a solid draft to win the game with, but their playstyle was all over the place. It looked like a team that, you know, when you're playing a pub and everyone is playing for himself, when everyone is tilted. That's literally how it felt. How many black holes from Enigma were followed up by anyone? General was on his own island, just doing his own thing the whole game.
Yeah, he really only had that very first black hole where everyone moved a little late. Does this look familiar to you? Did we accidentally hit a replay?
Well, maybe we'll see a Dragonite coming out.
Monkey King.
Monkey King Dragonite, yeah, same thing. I mean, actually, I have seen almost the same exact drafts picked up by 2 teams in the same series. You know, some teams, they just believe in their stuff, and if you let them have it, they'll pick it again. And I really think FlyToMoon draft isn't bad. It's just the way they executed it in that last game was bad, and that's it.
It was that one iceberg dive, honestly, because that opened up, well, it was 2. It was the Dragon Knight diving past a tier 3 while a tier 2 was up. And because they got that kill, HellRaisers could go and take Roche, and when
the thing is,
that didn't work out well for the Morphling.
Yeah, Morphling died there. The HellRaisers, they ban out the Dragonite. They want to see something else coming from FlyToMoon. So, boo-hoo on HellRaisers. They're making us watch something else. But
we could have sounded so smart for anyone who didn't watch the first game. Could have picked the exact draft, and HellRaisers have to ruin that for us.
Yeah. I mean, right now in the meta, we had a game recently we were casting, and the panel called 8 out of 8 first picks. Like, it was me and I think Kyle there.
Wait, Kyle wasn't wrong?
He wasn't wrong for once. And we had like 8 out of 8 picks, and it's pretty much because you know what these teams are going to be picking, at least tier 1 teams, because you see how the meta is progressing, you see what the heroes are the strongest, and you see what they will realistically most likely pick. There can be some curveballs, but when it comes to HellRaisers and FlyToMoon, it is a little bit different because you really can't tell. These 2 teams, they play on a different level, and on a different level anything can pretty much work. Here, you know, like, is Furion banned out? Like, something like a Nature's Prophet isn't banned out still. It's crazy. Alright. Actually, I like this. Beastmaster with the Grimstroke is pretty solid. they have a cooldown that's not as long as the Black Hole. You have a clear combo with the Soulbind. The laning is also pretty strong. But HellRaisers, they're the ones that do something really crazy here. If you can see, they have the Oracle, but they pick the Chen as well. And these two heroes are usually your position 5s. But what's happening here is Oracle will most likely be out of that lane, and Chen will stay on the safe lane as a position 4 played most likely by Roger. And his main goal there is to just take the boars away from Beastmaster. You just dominate them, and then Beastmaster can't play around that. But we'll see, maybe they'll put Oracle there as well, because Oracle is also pretty solid, as he can purge the inks well. So there are some things that are good for both of these heroes there, but most likely it will be Roger playing the safe lane with the Chen versus the Beast.
Do you think we'll see a Void Spirit out of HellRaisers?
They don't really have any damage in the Chrono, right? But the Void Spirit. Void Spirit, sorry, yeah. It's banned out.
Oh, is it? Did we miss that one? Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay, it was early on. That'd be a great pick for HellRaisers right now.
You bait me to look stupid, and then you look stupid yourself with the bait. Good play.
Just want to bring us all down to the same level. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, Void Spirit would be pretty solid, but this is something that Nyx plays quite a lot. Actually, Xani, both of them play Leshrac. Both of these players are pretty solid Lesh players, so it's very flexible, and you get a hero that's questionably good versus Phantom Lancer.
It
now
really
the thing
depends. Late game, Phantom Lancer is really too tanky to like. I don't think the Lesh can burst him later on, but then again, you have Chen Oracle. Are you really looking at the late game? Like, are we gonna see a 5th pick, something that can push, and they're just going to look for the steamroll play?
They could also go for the superior late game carry, right? They could do something like that, so they have the win condition no matter what. We'll see. They definitely have these four heroes that are able to play on their own and protect the one carry, right? So that you see FlyToMoon, they instantly ban out the Alchemist. They don't want any of these ultra hardcore hard carries that can beat even Phantom Lancer. Another hero that comes to my mind right away is Meepo. He could win the game for them. Something like a Spectre perhaps as well. Not the greatest versus Phantom Lancer though. Well, that could be a problem.
But Amiibo is, I mean, they don't really have the supports to handle Amiibo. I guess Beastmaster's kind of okay, but...
All of these heroes are... Grimstroke with Stroke of Fate is kind of good, but all of them are fairly bad versus Meepo. You don't have anything. The problem is HellRaisers, they don't have a player that plays Meepo. As much as I know, they won't pick it, like even if it goes through. You just need someone that can micro it on a decent level, and their draft actually looks very similar to something what do you call them, NIP would do, right? They have a very similar playstyle. They put Pango on Saberlight, Chen gets that early mech, Pango gets the Vlads, you last pick the Meepo, and then you win the game around the 25-minute mark. They could do that, but they don't have the player. I'm fairly certain they don't.
So they're really looking at Spectre... maybe a Morphling. I don't like Morphling into PL that much though.
You could. Is Ember is first ban? Of course he is. Like, why am I even looking at that? Of course he's banned out. What else could they go for?
Because I think Spectre struggles too much against Bane, Beastmaster, Phantom Lancer. I think her early game is way too hindered, and Anti-Mage doesn't play as late as he used to.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see what they go for. They go for the Monkey. All right, once again. Actually, yeah, he's fairly fine, I guess, versus the PL early on in the game. He can struggle versus the Beastmaster, but you do have Chen to deal with that. This Oracle's game can be really good here. He has two heroes that he needs to save. It's the Lash and the Monkey King constantly. If he plays well, he can also play versus the Roar, versus the grip. It's such a solid Oracle game, but he needs to be on point. If he's on point, I think Clash and Monkey can just steamroll over FlyToMoon. But you called it earlier as well when you said that HellRaisers are most likely going to be early game or pushing oriented, while FlyToMoon will go for that late game with the Phantom Lancer.
So I guess FlyToMoon needs a mid laner that can hold everybody off.
It could be a Pugna as well for them. Lina is also... this is your to-go iceberg hero. That's why they picked it. Lina is pretty strong versus Lash. And I believe FlyToMoon is one of those rare teams that I have actually seen win with Lina. This hero I don't like. I just don't feel like Lina is a hero that...
She doesn't fit anywhere, right? Like if you play her position 4, she can be really nice with the stun spam in lane. But her mana requirements and item requirements make her a little greedy for a 4 position. But then when you put her mid, she can't really do as much as some of the other mids, so she feels hard to fit in somewhere.
Exactly. She just doesn't do as much, or she does one thing excellently, and that's bursting a target down, but she's way too squishy afterwards. If you go in a fight and you don't have a way of getting out, you're pretty much dead. That's the problem. Early on in the laning stage, she could be very strong versus Lash. She should win that lane. Iceberg should do quite fine for himself. The problem comes when Roger starts rotating with his creeps, together with Fanic as well. Later on in the game, we'll see. Iceberg is definitely a master of the heroes, so if anyone can make it work, if anyone can make her work, it should be him.
Right, well, we'll have to see if he can. I mean, I guess with holding off creeps and the spam, maybe that's enough to stop pushing. Maybe. Maybe.
Oh, I feel bad.
That's what you're playing around, right? You're constantly out pushing and trying to burst down a target or two.
Okay, so this game, I have turned down all of the audio so much, but I still feel like it's too loud. So just in case, we're gonna turn it down even more, and then I'll wait for people to yell at me. That
someone
now
is
they can't
always
hear in the in-game. It's, you know, I'd rather they be able to hear the cast and the game be a little bit quiet. So
someone is always going to complain. It's always going to happen, no matter what.
Eventually, I'll figure out the sweet spot of sound settings, though. You know, we'll get there one day.
It's never gonna happen. If you let them have the upper hand, if you indulge too much, they will just continuously ask for something, and it's never gonna be right.
Okay, so Roger has 8 salves queued up.
Yeah, that's the normal Chan build that you see. It's just trolling.
Did he misclick? Is this just because he thinks it looks pretty? It's a superstition.
He's just trolling.
I mean, it does look pretty. Oh, well, Nyx is getting some decent harass here. Roger doing the body block onto General.
He might die here. Roger might be dead. Stroke of Fate is here. Yeah.
Roger will fall.
Yeah, they did not expect the level 1 Orb of Venom on Beastmaster. That's pretty much what happened. He started with Orb of Venom, and Stroke of Fate also slows, so they get these 2 easy, well, 1 kill, and they force the monkey to use a lot of regen.
And up top, Funnick and Maposhka are trying to harass Always Wanna Fly, but of course Brain Sap making that challenging early on.
Puppy pretty much resurrected Bane. Everyone pretty much started playing Bane after Puppy, and that's it. But not everyone plays it as well.
Yeah,
and we'll see. Always Wanna Fly.
In some trouble.
Yeah. He's had that Fairy Fire, and he has a Brain Sap, so he was never really going to die there. But the thing is, the way Puppy plays it is, he knows when to draft it as well. He drafts it with a hero on the safe lane that needs a lot of experience. Your Embers, right? These kind of heroes. And then he plays away from the lane. He forces the support to fight him far away from the lane while Ember gets solo experience. Most Banes don't copy that. They just play the lane the same way Banes would play it before. But if you play that hero this way, he's just not as strong. They miss the point of the whole pick, I think.
So, pro tip about something I have observed about some of Puppy's resurrection picks over watching Secret for the past few years. If you head to Dota Buff and look at win rate by MMR and find a hero with a high win rate but a low pick percentage, especially where the win rate increases quite a bit with MMR, so that means it's a little more of a skill play, those are the heroes that he tends to pull out that people are surprised by, because they're not being picked very often. We lost Chen on the bottom lane. They're not being picked very often, but there's something about them that's kind of imbalanced, and when you have hundreds of thousands of pub games kind of doing that data searching for you, I honestly think that's where they come from, because that trend has happened every single year.
I don't necessarily... You're definitely right, but I don't necessarily think that he goes on to Dota Buff and searches
well, that could be, maybe he sees the same thing, but if you're curious, like if you go to Dota Buff and look at sometimes Secret's weird picks, like when no one was picking a Batten way back when, and Secret started pulling it out on the offlane, it was the same thing. It had like a 1 or 2% pick rate, but a 58 or 59% win rate. So it can be a really good way to see what heroes are going to come out in pro meta soon.
Like when you play these high MMR pubs, right? You actually match up against these players that have 1 or 2 heroes, and you see that why are you spamming an Abaddon when no one is picking it, and then you lose versus that guy a couple of times. Even if you're someone like Puppy, you start thinking, okay, there's something to this. I need to think about picking it.
Yeah, and I think Bane is one of those heroes. I think he has a really high Dota buff win rate right now. That's where I pick my heroes from, so that's how I know that. I decide who to spam based on what people aren't picking but are winning with. And Bane might die. No Fairy Fire on him this time. No Brain Sap for another 6 seconds, so... Funnick will take the last hit. Hey, I mean, you said he's not playing it the Puppy way, so just because Bane is good doesn't mean everybody can be good with Bane.
That's true. Pepe hands. So guys, nothing works for us, doesn't matter. If you're not Puppy, you're gonna lose. That's it, that's life. What's happened on mid lane, by the way? We haven't mentioned it so far. Lina, yeah, slightly ahead. You can see that he has 22 CS versus 16. When it comes to net worth, yeah, not really that far ahead on net worth. I guess he had to ferry a few more salves or tangos here.
It looks like Kasani's been winning the Rune Wars.
Yeah.
So
also, there's... He's gonna have a double bounty here if you see this. They didn't pick up the first bounty, so he's gonna pick that up, refill the bottle, and then take the 5-minute one as well.
Will he?
Or just go away. Or just go away.
I thought maybe he would stack. Yeah, there we go.
I guess he doesn't want to miss the lane, right? You stack, you go for it, you outpush the mid lane, then you go back for the bounty. Or you let it get denied. That can happen too.
That's a cheeky little play there from Roger. So he seems a little more comfortable on the Chen than he did on the Elder Titan. And Bane dies again, top. So that's I believe both kills for HR have been onto the Bane.
Yep. Roger is comfortable on both of those heroes, like 100%. He's a player that played a lot of Chen and a lot of Elder Titan. Just what hero he's less rusty with is probably Chen. It's probably Chen, yeah.
So nothing too exciting happening top lane. Support's just trading back and forth. Now Aloha has moved through middle. Not quite sure what he's looking to do. Ooh, now they're diving. And down goes the Oracle. Will they manage to turn it here? V2 pops the Fairy Fire. He has the Phantom's Rush to run away, but always want to fly. Might be the casualty again. Funnick has a decent amount of mana. And he had one more Swashbuckle to finish the job. V2 running back in, and Funnick choosing to TP out. He has no mana. He does not want to stay in this lane. And
Yeah, if
Alone
there's-
Dance came top as well.
If there's anything that this game showed me, it's the strength of Orb of Venom once again on the offlane. I'm spamming a lot of off, but I've been doing the same builds pretty much without Venom. No matter if you're able to kill someone or not, Venom is way too strong on a melee offlaner, it looks like. The slow is sick.
And when you have the right support there, obviously to
It's
add
been-
more in.
It's been a roller coaster for Orb of Venom. This has been my favorite item like 4 or 5 years ago. For 10 years, pretty much, Orb of Venom, I would buy it on any position 4. I just loved it. Even if I get no region, I would get Venom, but it's been nerfed to the ground and now resurrected a little bit by Ice Frog. Less damage, but more slow, and that's what you really care about.
Yeah, because then you get more hits in, which is more damage. It's like why Drow a lot of times gets ice arrows first.
Exactly, yeah. Pretty much same scenario, same thing.
Which, take note, Drow gets ice arrows first. People, let's remember that.
Yeah. Nah, they're still gonna go for split arrows. Got to farm the creeps level 1. Dog. It deals damage. How can you argue with that? It deals damage.
Exactly.
If it deals damage, you have to pick it. Who cares about slows?
So Nyx has been fully abandoned here in this bottom lane. FlyToMoon does not want to deal with him. He is getting free farm, no contest, sitting at top of the net worth. He's got his Orb of Venom and his phase boots. He is happy if anybody comes to try and kill him.
Yeah, even though Roger fed the first blood, the reason for this bottom lane going so well is the Chen pick. They just couldn't deal with him taking the boars. You talked about slow, right? You have Chen taking the boars, and then you have Orb of Venom on Monkey King and the Jingo stacks, and you're just that. They realized that very early on, this lane isn't really laneable for them, so they abandoned it.
I guess the Grimstroke can sit there and get a little bit of farm and levels, but Shen's actually rotating behind. He's got some nice creeps here. No troll for the net, but I don't think that matters. They will TP in Iceberg to try and make something happen. Bane coming as well. Roger getting slowed by the Grimstroke.
They don't know if he's invincible, yeah.
So this should be enough, and the ultimate dropped as well. So they get several creeps from Chen, get a kill here for Iceberg. Nice use of that invis to kind of creep up.
That's actually really good for FlyToMoon. Even if they didn't rotate and Grimstroke dies, I think you're fine with that, but because Grimstroke is getting all the gold and the space, he now has arcane boots too. But with Lina rotating in, with her killing off the Chen creeps and forcing them back, that's insanely good. Especially because while that was happening, Beastmaster is on the mid lane and he's protecting it from Lashrak push, right? So all this aggression that comes from HR pretty much gets counterplayed easily by FlyToMoon. Really good plays on the map from them.
Doesn't look like we're gonna have any big bounty rune fights. Everybody kind of just staking out their own side of the map. Don't see any more kills there, but levels on supports. Bane is at 5, Grimstroke 5.5, and he's gotten the tome. Oracle is at 5.5, and Chen is almost level 6 and has the tome queued up. So slight level advantage for HR. I think that's just because Chen gets so much from the jungle.
Yeah, he gets a lot from the jungle, and also because of that, the core player isn't sharing experience as well, right? So kind of goes in multiple ways there for them in their favor. Mechanism also completed by Chen, so Roger is having a blast right now.
And HellRaisers take the first tower, so they are beginning their onslaught of pushing.
They should go for the tier 1 on the mid lane. You can see where Chen is. That's probably where the pushes are going to happen. However, there is a rotation on the bottom lane from FlyToMoon.
And might be able to trade, maybe trade towers, kills. We'll have to see if it forces them to rotate. They're looking for Funnick and Babushka in the trees. Funnick ultimate comes out with the leash, holding in place the roar used as well. Will Fiddlemister? No. Oracle will fall here. Aloha Dance throwing out the slow onto Funnick. Now there's a TP here coming from Lesh, but it does get canceled. Nyx finishing off the Grimstroke. TP out successful from the Beastmaster. So that ended up being a 1-for-1. Pretty much even on both sides. Support trade.
But it isn't really even, right? Because this is what FlyToMoon wants to be doing. They want to delay the game. They understand that they can't defend, so they attack somewhere where HellRaisers aren't. They force some rotations from HR, and HR, instead of taking the tier 1 on the mid lane, they're forced to defend bottom lane and trade 1-for-1, right? So they're not happy with this. If you're HR, you're the ones that actually want to be pushing and taking kills. Flash, he's dead.
In middle, yeah, he gets healed up a little bit there, but not enough to hold out against 2 ultimates. They are turning things onto the Bane. Bane will fall in trade for that Lesh. Roger low as well. Iceberg finishing him off with a little bit of fire. So 2 dead on the side of HellRaisers. They get the tower, but they lose a couple heroes for that.
I think FlyToMoon, in that last game, they were playing Go, right? They just had a couple of very bad calls, and a couple of honestly interesting black holes and stuff. But in this game, it looks way more solid. The way they're rotating across the map is much faster. Maybe it's the nature of the heroes as well, but they're reacting to not only the plays from HellRaisers, but their general strategy really well.
They definitely seem more warmed up this game.
Yeah, this Lina is always in the right place. With the travels now completed as well on Iceberg, he's able to pretty much be wherever General is and constantly help out with these team fights.
And he's certainly able to farm very quickly. He's not too far off from having the Yules as well, so just sitting a little bit behind Monkey King on net worth.
Yeah, that last fight you could really see Oracle struggling. Poshka in that last game, he had great ultis,
but nice setup here bottom. The Chen is smoked. It's been revealed. They're trying to chase down FlyToMoon. Looks like PO will lose his career. Yeah, so Yule's up onto Always Wanna Fly. Stun here. He tanks the gank. Wow, okay, he's gonna tank the gank for a while. He'll die eventually, but certainly takes the time to make sure that PL has the nice, safe, secure teleport away.
Yeah, one good thing for HellRaisers is not only did they kill the support, they will be able to transition into a tier 1 push on the bottom lane. So this is all right. You can see Aloha Dance already in position to mess with them. Stroke, he definitely has to do this. That's your job. If you're a Grimstroke at this point, you just spam out these waves constantly.
They don't lose, well, they lose about half the damage on the tower there. So, an okay first push from HellRaisers. Monkey King getting called down to the bottom lane by Chen. So they will have a full force here. They're very committed to taking this lane. It's like we said in the draft, HellRaisers, I think they just want to end the game. And they catch Always Wanna Fly. Once again, he'll brain sap to heal. And the Monkey King ultimate is out. He is held a little bit by this Grimstroke. Oh, but he still takes down the Bane. Iceberg running, chasing forward. Well, trying to run away, really, being chased. And he's going to fall in the trees. So 2 dead on the side of FlyToMoon. The HR rotation seemed to work out for them.
This whole fight was literally won by Oracle. Like, this whole fight is basically Miposhka using his ulti on the Lash before he dies, and afterwards you actually have enough damage to counterplay and get a couple of kills. General will die as well. By the way, those salves that we talked about, Shen is carrying some of them too, even right now, because when Oracle pops his ulti, you can pop a salve on the target that's ultied, and it can't be interrupted. So that heal will count when the ulti ends.
So when Monkey King and Lesh got leashed together by Grimstroke, and Lesh stood pretty much as far away as he could outside of the Monkey King ultimate and didn't really run with Monkey. Was that And how much are they coordinating that? Because I would have expected Lesh to move a little closer and give Monkey more freedom there.
He's just freaking out. He's freaking. He knows he's going to eat a Laguna to his face, so he's running to Miposhka. He's pinging probably on him, screaming. And he's also pretty scary. He's a boxer. He was a boxer or something. So Miposhka is like, please don't hit me. I'll ulti you. Just play. You know, it's definitely not super coordinated. I agree with you. He could have went forward and then just expected the heals from Oracle to come anyway, but it was a little bit of a panic movement.
That's fair. Monkey still did get his kill. I think he killed Bane inside of his ultimate, so always want to fly down again. And a Roche here from HR. With Chen summons, there's a Beastmaster Hawk, so they saw it. That is a nice side thing that when the Edict comes out, I guess it'll kill the Invis Hawk.
Yep.
Did not think about, but that's a fun little benefit.
They're smoked up, they want to fight this, but the Monkey King ulti and they're completely fine. Is he going to roll as well? No?
I heard him start it, but I guess he decided to cancel when FlyToMoon didn't really engage.
Yeah. I think if you're FlyToMoon, you just have to wait for PL to come online. He has his Defu now, but this is weird though. The build that he's going for is not something that I come to expect from a PL that plays versus Lash. If you're playing versus Lash, you're going for Hood early on. That's how pretty much every single PL player does it. You go for a Hood, and then Diffusal without this Yasha maybe. I'm not sure, but Hood is your standard 2-go item versus Lash because it mitigates his damage heavily.
What about this Sanj? Is that, I guess, the status resist is nice and you're a little bit tankier, but it still feels like Hood would mitigate a lot more damage.
Yeah, S and Y with Diffusal, this is something a little bit out there. Now Vitune, he's one of those hero spammers when he came into the scene, right? So maybe PL isn't the hero that he played as much, but if he's comfortable with the build and if he thinks it's right, you can't really question a player because he plays all the time the same heroes and he probably knows what's best. We'll see if it works out or not.
Well, there's another point in favor of him getting a Hood because Monkey King has finished his Radiance, or is about to finish his Radiance.
Damn, it's a fairly quick one with the Echo Saber too.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that he's going for Radiance. Now I see it with the Relic and it queued up.
I wondered if he would during the draft to deal with PL, right? Because your options are Radiance, Maelstrom, or Battle Fury if you want to cut through illusions as a monkey. And I think Radiance is the most meta of those options.
You could see that in the last game he was really itemizing versus the heroes and itemizing for the game as well. In the last game he was queuing up that Abyssal versus the Enigma because they had no ways of dealing with the BKB Blink. In this game he's queuing up the Radiance. I don't necessarily think it's the best item in this game. I think Radiance is fine, it boosts up your farm as well. It's obviously good versus PLS Illusions, but you kind of have the Lash to deal with him, together with the Pango. Maybe it's a little bit of an overkill, but we'll see.
And they really... They feel like they have a lead because they're taking towers, but because they're 5-manning so much, they're not really getting a big gold lead here. So they might feel a little more ahead than what they actually are.
Yeah, just 1k, right?
Yeah.
2k right now, nothing really. At this point, considering how many towers they have and everything, it's not a big lead. The thing is, how much do they do with this gold? And I think they do way more than FlyToMoon, at least right now. And I'm looking at this PL. Did he? Okay, he switched up. He's not going for S and Y. And no, he is.
I think he bought the Sanj.
He bought it.
Yeah.
He bought it. Yeah. I will see. This is his go time. The only question is this enough? Because for me, it doesn't look that great.
I mean, maybe it's about just spending his gold, right? Gold advantage in farm doesn't matter if you're sitting on it. So maybe he wanted something that could fight right now, immediately.
Yeah, that we'll see. Can they fight? There's the push.
Okay, and he goes to dodge. He has the Oracle save onto this Monkey King right now. Iceberg caught. I think Iceberg's gonna just fall here. He will, so they lose him. He has the buyback now. The Grimstroke leash is out, and there's a double Bane ultimate here onto the Pango and the Monkey, but it gets Yules and canceled, and now the Monkey King ult can come out, forcing these supports back. Aloha Instant always want to fight, taking a lot of damage. Iceberg has bought back, and that tower has fallen. Edict on cooldown for a bit longer, and always want to fly will fall, but he's already used his grip, so he doesn't have as much to contribute. Melee is down, and HR kind of backs off. Are they actually going to? And there is that Radiance here on Nick, so he had that for this fight. They're going to go for more. They're rotating top. They want to take out a second tower. This Edict off cooldown and used again to mail the tower.
I mean, they still have the Aegis. They know Grip isn't there. They know Soulbind isn't there. Roar as well. All the big spells from FlyToMoon have been spent. You're not gonna go away unless they somehow manage to kill off Monkey. Yeah, that's GG.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked kinda fine for FlyToMoon, but really, when you look at the itemization as well, I'm gonna blame the PL a little bit. If you itemize like this, you pretty much need 2 more items to fight, not even 1. After these 2, you need more, because there's literally one way you deal with the Lash. You go Hood Diffusal, you pop your illusions, you send those illusions at him, so they gnaw away his mana, and then he feels kinda useless. Plus you have the Hood to defend you if a fight starts, and then you can actually have these early game engagements. But FlyToMoon, they dropped the ball. They were like, okay, we have this uber carry on the side of PL, we'll just wait for him to come online. And that never happened.
I didn't even notice. The score of this game was 11-7. V2 had 1 kill and 1 assist. He was around
That's it.
2 kills. That's it.
I mean, most of them were around 1 or 2 kills, right? Because it all adds up to 7. They didn't really have way too many. Yeah, this last Piklina as well. You saw what I meant, even on the high ground. It looks good in the laning stage, but later on, you just go past her, and the breeze alone kills her. It's just way too squishy of a hero at the moment.
Well, and when he bought back and they were taking the second set of racks, he couldn't even walk forward. That long range monkey stun, and then being able to swashbuckle in from Funnick makes it too hard to even get close to the fight. They don't have anyone to protect them, right? Like Nyx can do whatever he wants because Miposhka is just gonna protect him the entire time, and I didn't see FlyToMoon having the same options these games.
It's this Miposhka. That's the hero of the game for me. Everything else kind of does its own thing, but if you're FlyToMoon, you can't play against Oracle. You need to find a way to pick him off first, and you don't have reach. You could perhaps run in with the PL, but that's it. Everything else that you do in this game is going to be just countered by the Oracle ulti and Fate's Edict. So just a rough game for FlyToMoon. That's why they concede this early on.
So is Oracle going to have to start being a first ban against HellRaisers, or do you just draft to deal with it?
If you're FlyToMoon, you can leave the Oracle, but you can't go for Beastmaster, Bane, and Grimstroke. You know, these heroes, they just suffer heavily against him. It's also the Chen versus the Beast lane, right? There's a lot of little things that added up for HellRaisers, but one big one that sticks out in both of these games is definitely Oracle.
Yeah, it just seemed so strong and like it was impossible for them to do anything.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well, that was, I believe, the only games we have today, but that was a good little warm up. HellRaisers certainly seem warmed up.
Yeah, the second game looked way cleaner, easy for them. Yesterday, they actually, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I'm not sure, but they lost the series to FlyToMoon, so a little bit of a revenge coming from HellRaisers, and for quite a long time they looked like team to watch out for in the CIS, because they even reached some finals in We Save tournament. Then later on in Pushka League, they looked really good. In some party match leagues in the CIS, they're always taking first or second spot. I was surprised by their shortcomings in the last week, but we'll see. Maybe in ESL they can do better.
All right, well, they have several games ahead of them. That is not all there is for ESL games today. You can check out games on the other streams as well. I'm not exactly sure which ones are running right now, but I'm sure we'll have a host or a raid. As always, you can check out ESL Dota 2 on Twitter and the Liquipedia page for the schedule. Thanks for joining me today, Lizard. I look forward to casting with you later this week.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Adios, everyone.
Multiple witnesses have reported mysterious shadow sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is still unclear. No matter what your passion is, soccer, rugby, racing, or esports, become a part of the experience with the moments we deliver.
My name is Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing.
Hi, my name is Sue Lee. My handle is Snix. I think it's important for these initiatives to happen. Empathy really, really goes a long way, and it always means so much to us, and I think that's where initiatives like this really help.
I encourage everyone in the community, anytime they see bullying, anytime they see someone getting called names, I encourage you to step up and say something.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
have reported mysterious shadow sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is still unclear.
Everybody loves an underdog. Who needs to be liked?
Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Chasing all my dreams away.